please know that Sandra Long is a global LinkedIn expert, consultant, and author and speaker. She is known for her book, speaking, TEDx talks, and Wikipedia mentions. Her best-selling book is LinkedIn for Personal Branding, the Ultimate Guide. Sandra presented the first ever TEDx talk about LinkedIn in 2019. The 11-minute speech is called LinkedIn Community, a superpower hiding in plain sight, and is available on YouTube. She is a professional member of the National Speakers Association and a certified virtual speaker with eSpeakers. Sandra and her company, Post Road Consulting, focus 100% on LinkedIn education and thought leadership. Their clients include sales teams, corporate C-level executives, HR teams, universities, job seekers, and business owners. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sandra Long.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. I've had a couple of really fun conversations with Aaron, and so I'm just delighted to meet new speaker friends. I look at this as an opportunity to share some insights about LinkedIn, answer questions, and also develop more friendships with all of you. So I'm just really, really happy to be here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, excellent, excellent. Happy to be here. So today, this is wonderful. It's Friday afternoon. What Aaron and I have planned for you is sort of dividing this up in a couple different ways. I'm going to start off by talking about LinkedIn branding for speakers, specifically for speakers. Now, this is, by the way, my book, LinkedIn for Personal Branding, which you'll hear more about later. But basically, I'm going to be focused on how do we take those concepts specifically for speakers. And as we go through, I'll have a couple of chances for you to get your chat fingers ready and a couple of exercises. But I'm going to be watching the clock because if I end up, I might have to cut some out. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to stay right true to what Aaron has for my expectations. We're going to take a break at some point, and around 5:15ish, we said we hoped, maybe roughly.
Yeah.
And then we're going to come back and I'm going to do 7 power plays for speakers. So after you've got your brand and you're looking good digitally, then what can you do to really make the magic happen on LinkedIn? So I'm going to share some of those tips. And then at the very end, I'll have a special offer for your chapter. We are, Aaron, you want to mention about the book prizes?
We're going to give away some books today, folks. I know, maybe we should have promoted that in the announcement for the event, but just for those who are here today, we're going to give away 2 books, Sandra's books, one just before our first break, and then again towards the end of the session. So yeah, some other excitement to stay tuned for. Must be present to win.
Must be present. All right, and then a little evaluation, and then questions at the end as well.
Yes.
So that's the plan that Aaron and I came up with. So let's get going. You might wonder, you saw my book, why on earth are there fish on the cover of the book? And there's a lot of people on LinkedIn that look exactly the same. There are other speakers, there are other consultants, there are other authors. And what we want to do is really be uniquely ourselves so that, you know, and that the way I like to think about it is be that orange fish, be distinctive, because that is what is going to attract people to you. Now, on LinkedIn, there's the idea of a personal brand, but there's also the idea of a company brand. And they really work together on LinkedIn, unlike Facebook or Instagram, where it's very much your personal. On LinkedIn, your company does come into play. So for me, I have a profile and I have a company page. But one thing I want to mention is even if you have a company page or you're an employee at a company, you want to focus your primary attention to your personal activity and your personal page. That is how you're going to get speaking gigs, create relationships, and all of that. All right. Now, the concept of personal branding, I think 5 years ago, there was, or, I always asked audiences, are they comfortable with that terminology? And it's really been over the last 5 years that people really are very comfortable with it. And the definition of personal branding, according to Wikipedia, is here. And there's one word that really sticks out, and that word is ongoing. And what that means is if you decide how you want to present yourself and how you want to position yourself, don't think that you create this profile, you create this brand, and you just walk away, because you're changing all the time. The world is changing. So it does have to be an ongoing effort. If you're interested in the topic, there's a great article. Believe it or not, it was written in 1997, which kind of is mind-blowing. But Tom Peters wrote the article in Fast Company. You can Google it and get it. Basically, the PDF is right online for free. But it is really so true today. It just is amazing. And it was before social media. That was what was amazing about that article. So when we think about LinkedIn and the personal branding, because I wrote my book to sort of combine the concepts of personal branding and LinkedIn, all of these things come into play. Your experience, your personal qualities. I think a lot of people think, well, my LinkedIn profile, it's all about where I work, where did I go to school, and that's what matters. And it really couldn't be farther from the truth, because your personality, your vision, your values, your look, all of those things come into play. And what is unique about you? So think about a speaker. I think about these qualities. If I'm going to hire a speaker, I'm thinking about, are they engaging? Are they motivational? Are they easy to work with? Are they tech savvy? Think about yourself. What are the things that are important to you, about that are authentic to you? What are those things that you could say are your qualities as a speaker? And do they come through for you? I mean, do you just say on your profile, I'm a speaker and I talk about diversity, or I talk about leadership, and that's all you have? There's a lot of people that talk about leadership, right? So thinking about what are those qualities and how can you bring those out on LinkedIn, and how can you demonstrate these things, these qualities? Because being able to demonstrate that means you're creating an immediate impression. And as you connect with people, they're going to check you out. You can attract people and really differentiate yourself from all the other leadership speakers or sales speakers or communication speakers or social media speakers, right? Really just differentiate and establish trust. So I'm thrilled you're all here. I know a lot of speakers are really involved in the Facebook world. And I know, and Facebook is great. And Facebook is great for NSA, but for customers and for clients, LinkedIn is your place, right? So there's over 730 million users on LinkedIn. And who are they? Compare the LinkedIn universe to the other social media platforms. They're the most affluent, educated, and informed people. These are the people that will pay our fee. They're on LinkedIn. All right, so I'm going to ask a question about you, and I'd like you to actually put it in the chat. Do you consider yourself a beginner, intermediate, advanced, or expert when it comes to LinkedIn? And I'm going to ask Aaron if you can just sort of look at the chat and kind of let me know kind of the, what we're seeing. I think you're on mute though, Aaron.
I was. Well, so far, I'm seeing 3 beginners, 4 beginners, intermediate, and working on more than intermediate. Not a big surprise. We're seeing a range.
Okay. A range.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a lot of people are fessing up to advanced, though. I only see 1 or 2 advanced.
Oh, you have some advanced. Okay.
Oh, 1 I see.
Okay. Okay. Who's the advanced person? I want to be watching that person.
That is Bill.
Bill. Awesome, Bill. All right. Well, here's the thing about this. All of you folk, and I consider myself an expert, and I would tell you this. I learn about LinkedIn every single day. So no matter what category you're in, you can learn something about LinkedIn every single day. So here's the funny thing. LinkedIn started in 2003. And now here we are actually in 2021. If you look at this, and the surprising thing about this chart is Facebook started in 2005. And if you remember, between 2005 and 2010, everybody was talking about Facebook. You didn't even hear about LinkedIn, right? And now look what's happened. The trajectory is just skyrocketing. So I actually started on LinkedIn in 2005. I started way before I went into Facebook. So I'm much more comfortable with LinkedIn, but most people did the opposite. They were in Facebook early on and then came into LinkedIn. So there's a lot more to learn. There's a lot more unique features for your business networking and your business presence than you have anywhere else. So if you feel like a beginner, you're not alone. Most people, when I ask that question, no matter where I speak, most people feel like beginners, and most audiences that I have. All right. So the buyers that we're trying to attract, the meeting planners, the event planners, the company sales VP, I get hired by sales VPs, right? All of those people, when they're looking for a solution, which we want to be the solution, these folks are on a journey. They're digital, they're connected, and they're mobile. It's not like a Yellow Pages situation, right? It's not like, it's changed. The world has changed. So this is what they're doing. They're online. And most of these folks, they're going online and they're asking people for referrals. So you see, that's part of the journey. As they're getting those names, they're going on to LinkedIn to go and check them out. They're going on to LinkedIn more than they're even going to the NSA website. I mean, this is where they're going because this is where they live. This is where they are. And they're looking at our content. They're looking at who the mutual connections. They might go to our company page. They might go to our website, all from our profile. And they're creating an impression. They're crafting an impression and then deciding to call us or not. So every time your name is mentioned, you can expect that someone's looking at your profile, right? So that's an important thing. Now, most of us as speakers are thought leaders, right? Because we have something to say. So we are, some of you are podcasters, some of you are writers, some of you are authors, you are potentially mentoring and helping, and you're also learners, like you're doing all these things. And all of these things can be positioned on LinkedIn as part of the full picture of you, that orange fish, right? All of them are important. So I'm going to give you my top 10 ideas about the personal branding for speakers. So the first one is to think about that, like so many people rush to their computer and they start typing creating their profile. But I want you to be thinking about how you're positioning yourself. Are you positioning yourself as a thought leader? Some of you might be in a job search. I mean, it's possible. I think most of you are business owners, right? Some of you might be in a student as well. Many of you have multiple gigs going on, right? You're a speaker, you're an instructor, you're a consultant, maybe an author, you're doing like different things. The second thing is, what's your voice? Like, what is it, whether it's your personality, your values. Again, if you're a leadership speaker, you've got to have a voice in terms of what's important on the leadership and how does that come across on LinkedIn, because people will want to see some of that, some evidence. They want to understand your voice before they hire you. All right, now language is important because the language that we pick will make a huge difference. So the first thing is, whatever expertise, we want to be as specific as possible. So if you are a leadership speaker or a diversity speaker, try to narrow that down and to be even more specific. So maybe you're a leadership speaker for women business owners, right? Or something like that. Like, how can you be as specific as possible? Or maybe there's a certain aspect of leadership that's the most important, or a certain aspect of diversity. So really be specific and use those words. I know you've heard of keywords, and they're very important. So whatever industry you're speaking to, some of you might be in the healthcare space or You might be, a marketing speaker, whatever those words are, thinking about all that language that's going to be important for you to have as part of your profile. Because if I'm looking for a marketing speaker, I'm going to put in LinkedIn as a search, marketing speaker. And oftentimes I see speakers, they don't use the word speaker, believe it or not, or they don't use the keywords, and so they can't really be found. So a speaker keyword is going to be whatever those industry words are, your specific expertise, actually using the word speaker. And Aaron, I think when I looked at your profile, I think you need to add the word speaker on yours.
I was just thinking that.
Because I checked it out, Aaron. All right. All right. And then if you're an author, using the word author. If you do webinars, use the word webinar. Like, what are those words? So I'm going to now ask you, we'll take a minute on this. In fact, if you want to put them in the chat, put in some of your keywords. I'd like to hear some of these keywords that you have for yourself. It's a little quick exercise.
I think I'll go to my profile right now and check that out.
I think that's got to go on your list there. You got to.
Yeah.
It's very common, Aaron.
Okay. You're right.
Easily fixable. Are we seeing anything in the chat?
The chat has sudden money, wealth, technical experts, author, speaker, professor, professional. Yeah, it does say professor. Radio host, coach, love, trainer, engagement, all kinds of stuff. Resilient, peak performance, health and wellness.
Good.
Coaching.
That's great. So I'm hearing a combination of functional terms like, or sort of job type terms like professor, author, all of that, radio host. But I'm also hearing industry terms, right? Like the money and the health. Those are great. All those were great. All right. So where do you want to use this language? Because it's important to have it in your headline, at the very base on your headline. And I'll show you some examples. And in your experience has a title and then a description. It's important to use this in your skills and all your descriptions. So the other thing I want to mention about language is that it's recommended that you use first person language. So when I write about myself in my essay, that I write I or my. I don't say Sandra Long or Mrs. Long. That's a bio. This is social. So we want to be friendly and use the first person.
So are you talking about this space where it says about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so it all should be aligned. Your about essay and your experience, having all of that be consistently in first person.
Okay. Now,
you might say, which some people say to me, I'm nervous about first person because I don't want to come across as boastful. Well, you can do this. You have to just be able to position yourself in a way that you're talking about your passion, your helpfulness. There's lots of ways you can do this without just making it sound like you're just bragging. And I that's a big part of what I write about in the book. So definitely take the time. There's examples in the book that you can look at to help you with that. All right, so here's a couple of examples. This is, one of my screenshots. You can see on my headline, I have LinkedIn as my functional, my speaker, training, all of those kind of things as part of my headline. So the question I want to ask in the chat now is, where do you need to focus? Do you need to be positioning yourself better? Do you need to think about your voice, or do you need to work on your language? Because everybody needs to work on something. So just go ahead in the chat and tell us where, what you think you might need to focus on going forward.
I've seen more than one or two people saying all of the above, which kind of is contrary to focus, but focus on everything. It's contradictory.
Well, I said all of the above is one option.
Yeah, so I guess it's just being able, or realizing we need help in all these spots is certainly doable. Need to start adding articles and create a profile that is not confusing. Uh,
Right.
language that is more me and my company and I. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good. Sounds like some good comments. Thank you guys for that. All right. So the next part, number 4, is tell your story. And the story is important. That's that about essay. I mentioned writing it in the first person. That's one great place to tell your story. But you can also write articles and post and do videos and your images as well. All of these things can be telling your story. Now, it used to be called the summary, and now it's called the about section. This year in the summer, they changed it from 2,000 characters to 2,600 as your upper limit. This is your introduction to your personal brand. And think about this. All of us are communicators. Anyone who hires us wants to know that we can communicate. So your essay, and some people, they just don't put the effort into it, but honestly, it's a golden opportunity to impress and attract and motivate someone to be working with us. Absolutely. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And in my book, you'll see there's a lot of different, I have 5 different examples of different essays and different formats. In fact, these are some of the personas I write about in my book. So one is the historian. That's the person who just describes, I've been working in this company for 20 years. And before that, I was at this university. We've seen all that. And that, to me, is the least creative because it's all there in the profile already. And it's very common to see this historian type thing. And I just don't think it's not at all creative. So at least you want to turn it into first person and try to make it more interesting. Now, the weaver is super interesting because it's someone who's doing a couple things. Like many of us, you're a speaker and you are a coach. You are a speaker and an author or a blogger or whatever. You're doing multiple things. So the weaver is someone who is able to tie that all together. And the example in the book is actually someone named Amy, who she's not a speaker, she's an HR person, but on the side, she has a field hockey business. And so you'd say, if you're doing 2 things, people get confused. And it's your job to position yourself, right? So in her essay, which is in the book, she talks about how she has a spirit of entrepreneurship that she uses in her HR role and in her field hockey business. So there's a thread that she brings it together. So when someone comes to read her profile, they understand she does 2 things and it's all in sync with her, right? The themer is another example. My friend Lisa, who has a big job at Cigna in Hartford, and she's good at a lot of things. So we have there's different themes that she has in her about essay. And there's all these different ones. You'll see all these are different examples in the book. And the storyteller one is my favorite, if you can tell a story. So for me, as I mentioned earlier, I often get hired because I do a lot of work with sales teams, and I often get hired by the VP of sales. So the story I start off with in the very top of my about essay is about being a pioneer, one of the first women in field sales. And you might say, well, why would you say that? Because that just makes you look like you've been around a long time, But I will tell you, by telling that story, people know that I understand sales. I understand the mentality. I've carried a bag. I have credibility. And the VPs of sales, when they talk to me, they'll say, I want to hire you because you're not just a speaker on sales, but you've done it. And so I have a story, and many of us have a story that's compelling. So how can you open up your about essay to make it interesting and compelling? And in the book, there's lots of different stories from different people, with all kinds of different sort of origin stories. I've got a format in there too. So this is the format. You want to start, this is my 5H format. Number 1 is a hook. How can you either tell a story, or maybe there's an incredible stat or something really compelling in the beginning, versus, remember that whole historian, like the 20 years I've done this and 20 years I've done that. They don't care. But what's your hook, right? Then the second one is, how do you help? Maybe it's how you help your audiences, how you help your clients, something about that. The human is what I love that. This is, what is it about you? Maybe it's your personality, and maybe it's your personal interest. I like a little bit, even though it's all business, a little bit of who you are as a person. So I have a line in there that says, for fun. So all this is my professional stuff. And I have a little line that says, for fun, I like sushi and American history and skiing and water sports, and it's an icebreaker. So you can do that. And then hot words is my H word for keywords, that I'm using those throughout. And hello means at the end of my about, I'm going to share how to reach me, my email, my phone number. So that's the format that I talk about in the book, and I've just given it to you. All right. So now, many of us have portfolio careers. In fact, I think most of us all do. Like most of us, well, maybe someone's a speaker 100% of the time, but I think a lot of us are speakers and coaches and all of this. In fact, in the book, I talk about, the example I use is Gail, who's on here. She's my friend from Rhode Island. And she's the one who is a coach, an author, a speaker, a radio host, a professor. She takes it to the far levels here. Anyway, the point I guess I want to make is your experience sections. You can have one for speaker, one for your day job. If you've got a day job and a night job, you could speaker, coach, author, like whatever those are, and then have those distinct. And then your essay is like the weaver one. Like I said, where you weave it together, right? Maybe there's a theme that goes across it. It really works great for our profession as speakers. All right, number 5, guys, is, so we've talked about words, like all these words. We've talked about words and positioning, and now we're going to get exciting stuff about images, because to me, the visual is so great. They've really upped the game with visual. So this includes your headshot, the background banner, your logos, your content, all that is very exciting. So you want to have a headshot where you're smiling, you're looking directly on, and it should be shoulders and up, not your whole body, right?
Amen.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you visual. This is, so on the upper left was last year, like 2019 on the left. That was me, my old headshot. I'm always getting new ones. And my picture of me speaking, which I like that in pre-COVID days, that was me speaking in New York City. And I like it because people are raising their hand. It's an action shot. So that's what I had. Then during COVID in the summer, well, actually, yeah, in the summer, a couple of things happened. I said, I need to be upping, changing. Remember I talked about that word ongoing in the beginning of your personal brand? Well, guess what? I can't just tell them I'm a speaker now. I now call myself a LinkedIn. I was a LinkedIn speaker. Now I'm a LinkedIn webinar speaker. I changed that word. And I made a banner that's different. And I put on sort of a Zoom picture. I put on my certification on my e-speakers virtual speaker thing, because I want to create now the fact that, it's different. Now I might go back, and obviously I'm always changing my visuals, but you can think about that. I also put on here certified virtual presenter on my headline. Okay, the headline was really great in 2020. In the summer, they increased the headline. Now you go to 220 characters. So where it used to be 2 lines, you can actually go to 4 lines right now, but I prefer 3. So that's pretty exciting. So I also do background images of speaking places where I've been speaking. I sometimes do a composite. So this is going back to like 2018. I had different images. Wherever you speak, you want to get people to take your picture. And you can use those pictures, right? And so I had this as a composite. Again, that's back with the old headline, another old headshot. That was 2 headshots ago. And the other thing that's kind of fun, you might like to do this, is a pre-event banner. So I've spoken at Inbound, which is a major big marketing conference in Boston. So before Inbound, a lot of people were connecting with me because it was before the event. So I had a banner made saying, see you in Boston, right? Because people were coming from around the world. And as I'm connecting with them, I wanted them to realize who I was and all that and get excitement going. And then after the event, I said, thank you, Boston, right? And I had a picture of me. That's a picture of me speaking in the red. And there's the background of the show, which from the show floor. So you can use this creativity to be a little more visual. The other thing is you want to, you can make banners. You can make all different kinds of creative banners. Like this banner was from the 2020 inbound, and you can, use banners, put in the hashtags as much as you can, which is always good. Oh, I was going to say my headline has inbound 20 right here. And my current LinkedIn profile now has a new event that I'm speaking at this year. NNA, it's called NNA 2021. I've got that in my new headline. So think about, what events are you in? How can you use all that to help you with your positioning? And you can also just put your city. This is one of my clients who has the Boston background. So you can have your city. So compare this to these kind of people. And I've seen, these are actual people that I grabbed the screenshot, and you see them. They have nothing up there. This woman, she's like, got sunglasses on. And this gentleman has, believe it or not, in this profile, there's absolutely nothing below here. He has a lot of connections, and he has this title, but there's nothing. There's no information. There's no visuals. So imagine the difference between what you can do and what some people do. Now, another wonderful visual is something called featured content. I love, this is my new favorite. Well, wait a second. It's my top feature on LinkedIn profiles ever. And it came out in 2020. Number one feature. And it's called featured. How confusing is that? So what you can do, I have my speaker reel right here. I've got my book. I've got my website. You can put media, and you can all of this can be added. You can add post if it's an article you have. If it's a presentation, your speaker reel would be great here. If you've written an article for a magazine, any of this stuff is great. If you have some images from you speaking, maybe you don't have a reel, but you have, always get photos if you can. Put those photos up. All right, now I'm going to ask a chat question. What are your best visual opportunities? Do you need a new headshot? Do you need to work on your banners? Do you want to do the featured section? Do you need to add media? Like are you going to put your speaker reel? What are you going to do visually that is going to, up your game here? So go ahead and put it in the chat. Get your chat fingers.
Well, once again, the first reply back was all of the above. But the next one we see is a new headshot and a banner, and put a speaker reel in.
Okay.
I would add, put the word speaker in. So that everybody here knows that I need to do that. Headshot and banner, refresh those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so don't feel bad, because this is something like, feel good about. This is an opportunity. Like, I work on this all the time, but this is an amazing opportunity as we connect to stay fresh. Think about those events you go to, but by having your page refreshed for that event, or for who you're going to meet, for the newest things you're talking about. And we all just pivoted, right? We all just pivoted. And so my pivot is that new banner. And hopefully you guys are all going to want to connect with me after. I really got my fingers crossed that you will. And in my essay, I want you to read, I talk about my pivot. And I think it's a great thing for us to be talking about. So all of these are opportunities, and they never end. Okay. Number 6 is to be found. We want people to find us. So having a complete profile, there's different things you can do to be found on LinkedIn and Google. Content helps you be found. Having a network, a big network, helps you to be found. So there's a whole bunch of things on your profile that make it considered optimized, right? So for example, you want to make sure you use the name that you commonly use. Now, Aaron, again, I had a little problemo with you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So people have this situation. I am sorry to call you out like this, Aaron,
That's
but
quite okay. You're not the first. I've
all right.
enjoyed this
So
treatment more than once.
so I'm like, how do I spell it? Is it Aaron? Who's this AP? Like I couldn't get the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I had a wonderful chat with him, but for some reason, anyway, make sure your name is such that however they know you from your one sheet or from Facebook or from your email or from your resume, whatever it is that it's the same name that people can find you, right? And you got your contact information. Your skills are really important because most people don't have the right skills on their profile. Having your location, oftentimes people will say, I want a speaker for Seattle or Boston. Then your location matters. The keywords, having it complete is going to help you be found. If you miss some of those components, then you're not going to come up as high on the search. And that means the essay. So don't leave, a lot of people leave that blank. It's again, that golden opportunity to impress and to be found. Now, here's the funny thing. You have an optimized profile and you can be found on LinkedIn because people search there, but you can also be found on Google. Yes, that's right. Somebody who is old school and they never even did LinkedIn is on Google and they're searching for you. Maybe they put your name in. Here's someone put Sandra Long here. And guess what? My LinkedIn profile comes up, assuming that my profile is optimized, right? So another reason, and certainly Google searches, let's face it, there's a lot of Google searches. You want your LinkedIn profile to come ahead of your Instagram and, Facebook, and even like my name is common. I want my LinkedIn profile to come ahead of maybe there's a Sandra Long in Pennsylvania who got arrested. I don't want that to be the top of Google, right? I want the Google to be what I want it to be, which is LinkedIn, and I've got it all set. So there's these settings here that can help you. You just toggle them there so that you can decide what shows on Google. And you want to make sure that everything is public. So, that it's all public, you can see on the left-hand side, basic, you want your down below, very bottom left, it says public, right? So you want to have that public so that somebody can find you on Google. All right. There's another new feature to help you be found. And this came out, I want to say the beginning of 2020. Most of you probably are not using it. Maybe some of you are, maybe some of you are, but probably not. So it's called Open for Business, and you can pick services that you are that are your services that are related to your service. And so for me, I picked social media type stuff. And there's actually on the right-hand side, you look at that, there's a search filter now on LinkedIn. If somebody is looking, they can go into service provider and they can put in social media marketing in that search field. And this helps me be found, right? So you can potentially use that. And I'm going to surprise you with the next thing I'm going to say. Are you ready to be surprised? Who's ready to be surprised? Give me a thumb. Okay. All right. So we're probably not job seekers, but there's a thing where you can show recruiters you're open to job opportunities. But remember, the definition of a job opportunity is not necessarily that you're a full-time employee, because a job opportunity could be a contract job. It could be a freelance job. So what I have on my profile is open to job opportunities, guest lecturer, guest speaker, online instructor, and adjunct professor. So I have that there. Now I don't use the ring around, like if you're a job seeker, like a full-time job seeker, you might have that green ring around your profile that says open to work. I don't want to have that up there because I'm not that much of it. I'm not really a job seeker, but I feel like, why not say again here that I'm open to these things? So it's just an idea. All right, number 7, visibility with content. Now this is hot and it's gotten hotter in the last couple of years. And this is content. And I'm going to ask a chat question. So Get those fingers ready. What are you doing? Are you creating posts? Are you writing articles? Are you making videos? Are you liking things that other people do? Are you commenting? Are you doing all of it? Are you doing not? And maybe if you're not doing any, but maybe you want to, maybe you're just observing and reading what's there. That's okay. Just, there's no right or wrong, but just tell us what you're doing.
Well, we've got answers like all of the above, but not often enough. And some said everything except video. We have Bill saying that Paul blogs often, so we've got some blogging going on.
Uh-huh.
I write articles, and looks like so does Bob Wolverton, and he creates videos.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So a lot all over the place, but it sounds like you guys are doing you got a lot of action. You know, the funny thing about this is the average LinkedIn user is not creating content. They're just observing. So what that means is that for those of us that do create, we have a pretty big opportunity because most people don't, right? They might like something, but that's, you know, so, or here we go. So you can stay top of mind, and being top of mind is important. You meet somebody, let's say you had this great Zoom meeting last September with someone who's a referral source, or maybe they might hire you, whatever it is, but you know it's for future opportunity. Great conversation. Well, you can't necessarily call them every month, right? Or you can't have coffee or lunch with them. So you want to stay top of mind, and being top of mind means that they're going to remember you for when they're ready to do something, right? And it's building relationships. So with content and the C, I even have the big C in my book. Like I have 6 chapters on content, because content is really important. So you can either curate it, meaning you can find an article from Forbes and you can put it, you know, share it on LinkedIn. That's curating, you know, finding it and sharing it. You can create something like from scratch, or you can be a comment. Like these are 3 good things you can do. And I don't want you to feel well, a couple things. I talk about the 80-20 rule in my book. The 80-20 rule is you want to spend 80% of your time commenting on other people's posts. That's right, 80%. Because if you're just creating or sharing and you're not commenting, it's kind of like you're just talking and you're not like conversing. You're just talking in the wind, right? And you're not, and building those relationships is what's going to get, you want comments back on yours. So you want to build those relationships. So 80-20. And then the other thing is, if you haven't done any of this yet, and you're like, I don't know, I don't even know what to say, I don't have time to think about it, then be a commenter. And I will tell you this, I comment a lot, and I get a lot of opportunity because I comment. I get people following me. I've had over 8,000 new not connections, followers, because of my comments in the last year. And I get people hiring me. So you don't have to pressure yourself so much. I mean, yes, creating is great, and I love to do that, but there's a lot of options you have here. So the types of things you can do, there's text posts, which are very popular, right? Text posts. There's an image or a link post. And there's now document posts, which came out the beginning of last year, very popular, and they're very good on the algorithm. So you can have a PDF or a PowerPoint. You can do articles. Articles came out in 2014, and they were great in the beginning. They're not as powerful now. However, LinkedIn is coming out with a newsletter feature. So you can start a newsletter and get subscribers. So this changes the game for articles, making them newsletters and getting those subscribers, right? There's native video, which really just means I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to video myself or video my friend, right? And there's live video, just like Facebook Live, YouTube Live. There's something called polls, which is polls and stories just came out last summer. These were great new features for content during COVID. Polls and stories. And you'll find your stories only on the mobile app. And stories could be good for speakers because you can maybe they're all like 20-second videos. You could have a little tip, something like that. And a lot of different people are seeing those stories. It's pretty exciting. If you're good at Instagram stories, you should definitely do this. I am not good at Instagram stories, but I force myself, and I do it. I do it like maybe once a week, the story. All right. Hashtags. Okay. Hashtags are good on LinkedIn. So it helps you to be found. So when you're writing content, you want to use the hashtag. Remember those keywords we talked about? Maybe it's healthcare, maybe it's money management. Some of those words that you guys were saying, those would be good hashtags if you're writing about that stuff. And also you can use those hashtags to find content where you can comment. Let's say I want to be visible, but I don't know what to say today, but maybe I want to start commenting on something about sales because that's my thing, right? I'll put in hashtag sales and I can see all kinds of stuff. And then I can jump into conversations and I can add not just great posts, but I want to try to add an insight, start a conversation. That's how you get very visible. All right, here's something I surprised myself with, and that is an emoji. I didn't think I would ever go for an emoji. I think, I don't know, maybe it's an age thing. I'm not 25. And I last year I could have told you that no way on emojis. Starting in March, I think COVID, I changed my thinking. There's a lot more young people now on LinkedIn. And not that I do not have an emoji in my headline. No way. I'm sparingly using it, but they're fun for content, especially for a post. A couple little emojis gives you some color, gives you some spice. And it's funny when I do my client workshops, I do client workshops with sales teams or with HR teams. And oftentimes I'll do like a profile workshop, where we're changing their profiles and stuff. And I'll ask the question at the end, what do you think about emojis? And a good many, 30% of them, and it's usually, I hate to say it, people my age or so, they'll go, no, I don't want an emoji. Anyway, that's an example of something that I changed. This is why when I just redid my book, not only have I changed, but LinkedIn has changed. So we should all be changing. All right, another thing about content, there's evergreen and there's time bound, meaning if I'm writing something that I'm going to use forever, I don't want to do a post. I want to do an article, right? Because I can use that again. It sounds like Aaron is doing articles. So I'm going to have to check that out later, Aaron. Okay. Then I can give you a gold star for that, right? Because I need to give you a gold star.
If you find something, yes.
Yeah. All right. So here's a couple of examples. On the left, that's a post. And so what I try to do is a gratitude post as a speaker. When I'm done speaking, I take pictures and I write thank you to whoever hired. This was they brought me out to Michigan to do this workshop, right? So I say, here I was, thank you to the group, fabulous. And I mention them, I do a hashtag. So I always do a gratitude post. That's not something that's going to be there forever, but I want to do it to thank them, right? These other two things are articles. So 5 reasons your CEO needs to be on LinkedIn. So what happens is companies will hire me to work on it with their sales team. And sure enough, I'll be done with the sales team and they'll go, well, we really need to get our C-suite on LinkedIn. And I just send them the article. So it's something that's always part of my body of work. So that's a really good reason to have evergreen type content. This is an example of me using emojis in my post, right? So the other example about this is instead of me saying there's a new feature, LinkedIn pronunciation feature, like instead of that, I try to tell a personal story. This is where I bring a thread of person. So I said, instead of just saying, here's a new feature on how to pronouncing your name, I ask the question, I tell the story how my maiden name was pretty hard to pronounce. And then I talk about the feature and you'll see I've got 2 emojis and I've got 3 hashtags. Okay. And so from this, I got 36 comments, 60 likes, 4,700 views. So just simple things can help you with your posts. All right. So to me, LinkedIn comments, I call them the new black. They're like the new black dress. You got to do it. And some of my clients, some in my LinkedIn club, some of them have started commenting and they're telling me they're getting opportunities because of their comments. So I'm telling you, I'm sharing that with you today. Okay, video. Hey, people, we're speakers, right? So every time you speak, try to, even, you know, if you can get a minute or two, that's fine. And, you know, or do it for your friend. It's really great. If you have video on YouTube, you want to put that on your profile, right? Or Vimeo. You can always get you know, you can make yourself a little video from when you're Zooming. You might get asked to be interviewed on LinkedIn Live and you want to do that. And LinkedIn Stories is another video opportunity. So here's another thing. I did a speaking engagement at Bryant University and I call it a gratitude video. So right when I was at the event, this was actually me at the college, and I had somebody video me, and it was about a minute video, and I just said, thank you, Bryant University. I had such a great time. I loved your audience, and it was just a delight to be here, whatever, something like that. And then I posted that as a video. So you can do the same thing, a gratitude video and a gratitude post. All right. Number 8, strategic network. So you are the center of your universe, and the people that you're connected to are called first level, and the people that they're connected with are second level. So your first level, you want to have valuable connections of people that you kind of know, that you have, that you're somewhat in the know with these. If they're all strangers, you're not going anywhere, right? So if you have 500 good, valuable connections, that is an opportunity to be introduced to 200,000 people, right? So if you have 35 connections or you have 3,500, but if they stink, you don't know them, you're not going to get those intros. So thinking about having valuable connections as your goal. So as a speaker, we need to be thinking, and speaker networks is the best. Like, that's why I'm here. Like, I'm not getting paid a big money. I'm not getting paid at all. I'm here because I love speaker communities. I love speaker networking. I love speakers. And I think, whoa, if I can connect with you guys, we can, who knows, one thing could lead to another. If I learn about you, maybe I could refer you. Maybe you could refer me. Like, that's the beauty of NSA and of having speaker friends, right? So now here's another example that if you've built your network and then you go to look at a company, let's say I want to speak at Synchrony, I can go and I can see, who do I know that works at that company? But if I haven't done that work of connecting to people I know, I can't see who I know that works at the company that I'm interested in speaking at. All right. Can you believe it? Well, let me just check time. We're at number 9. All right. Hanging in there with me, right, you guys?
Yep.
All right. So this is my personal philosophy. It's be a friend and lift others up. So if you're going to be on LinkedIn and you say, why I'm on LinkedIn, how come I'm not getting any action? Well, guess what? It's up to you to be a friend first and lift others up. So you build your network, you show interest in other people, just like Dale Carnegie taught us, right? He was from 1936. He knew that hasn't changed, right? Instead of bragging about ourselves on LinkedIn, let's congratulate our friend. Our friend writes a book, post it on LinkedIn. Our friend gives a speech, make a comment on their post or post it yourself. Give them a recommendation. All these things, be a friend and lift others up. So these are prompts. It could be a speech. It could be a promotion someone got, a book, a press release, anything. It's like good news. If you can amplify that, that's like your best tip for content, because not only are you doing good content, but you're building relationships by amplifying good news. As far as your networking, I believe in being as personal as possible. So adding notes to your invitations. Don't get involved in any automation. Don't send out those spammy stuff. Be personal, be interested in other people. Number 10, can you believe we're at number 10? I have to confess, there is a secret number 11 that I tagged on, but okay. because I know we're going to get to a break soon. Social proof. This is great for speakers. Recommendations, endorsements, certifications. Wow. So you want to ask your customers to write you a written testimonial and write you a recommendation. The great thing is you get your recommendation on LinkedIn and you can copy and paste it and put it in e-speakers, and it goes into NSA. So I just did that because I just recently joined NSA in August. And so I was able to put some of my recommendations. But it's also not only will you see it on my profile, but you go to Tom's profile from American Chemical Society, and you'll see it on his profile that he recommended me. So you want to focus on that. So we're going to take I'm going to call it a 1-minute exercise. Who can you recommend and who can recommend you? So if you want to write it in the chat, like, can you be asking clients? Is that something that you can start doing? Can you ask each other? Like, do you go to some of you probably go to each other's presentations? Could you be recommending each other? I want to see some chat activity. Aaron, I want to hear something.
Okay. Well, personally, I have a couple that I have recommended in the past and would continue to recommend. They're not in my topic area, but they're fabulous at what they do. So any chance I get, I recommend them. Yeah.
Excellent. Any comments on the chat?
NOAA came up as a recommendation, and Brad says he'd recommend Brian.
So Brad, who's on here, says he will recommend Brian.
Who's also on here, yes.
Okay, so guys, make that happen.
Yeah. And a response right back, Brian agreed. Ron says he recommends speakers that he knows, but
of course,
as far as he knows, no one's returned the favor.
Okay, it's okay to have a conversation. First of all, it's okay to ask for a recommendation, especially, we're going to talk about that when I talk about my 7 power tips, but you do want to be asking, and it's okay to say to someone, let's recommend each other, especially, let's say you did a project together, or you were on a panel. You've heard them, they've heard you, like, it's okay to do that.
Okay. Hey, Sandra, Jen asks a good question here. If somebody's recommended on other media, so she is saying if somebody's recommended me on other media, can we copy and paste that into our LinkedIn feed?
No, it's got to be generated from the person. So you basically go back to the person and say, I love the recommendation you gave me on Facebook. Would you mind? And you can even copy and paste it and send it to them. Would you mind? Here it is. I love it. You did it last year. Would you mind putting it in LinkedIn too?
And there is a way to do endorsements or something like that in LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. Certifications are part of your social proof. If you've done the e-speaker, certified virtual presenter, some of you have other types of certifications for your business. Some of you are certified, like the speaker certifications from NSA. Some of you have some of those fancy designations. This will be great, right? Or some of you have them from your industry. Maybe you're a PMI, or some of those. There's HR. Different industries have certifications. You definitely want to do that as well. All right, I'm going to skip this one and give you my bonus one, which is to stay current. So those first 10 have to do with your profile, your brand, your positioning. We talked about wording and images and all those different things. My last thing I want to just say is, before our break, is, stay current, because you can really leverage all the opportunities. So here's just what happened in the last few months. And every single day, by the way, every single day there's changes on LinkedIn. It drives me out of my mind, because all my presentations have got to change, and all my books got to change, and my articles have got to change, but I love it. So then again, it's just like, how do you keep up to date? You want to be aware of these features, and these are all new features, and there's new ones coming all the time. All right, so that's the top 10 or 11 that we've been talking about. I think now is time, because these guys have been great. They've been chatting. They've been giving us good feedback. Aaron,
Yes.
Let's do your book giveaway.
Give away a book. I should ask really quick, how do people stay current on it? Does LinkedIn themselves have a feed, have a feature where people can get announcements about what's happening on their platform?
So they do have some blogs, but honestly, like that's not, I have a bunch of places where I get my stuff, and I'm basically tied in with global LinkedIn experts from around the world. So
Ah,
I have connections, Germany, Portugal, all different countries, Italy, and we're online. Those of us that are in this industry, we're actually pretty close, and we share things because LinkedIn doesn't publish everything. So we have to, I hear about features from all over the place. It's crazy. And then I share that with my club, of course.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Well, let's see. I have everybody's name who's in attendance right now on a spinning wheel. I couldn't think of any better way to do this. I am.
Woohoo!
Look, does this look good? Does this look fancy? All right, let's spin it. Okay.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And it looks like it's gonna be Paul.
He's not there. No, no. He has to. He's not present. Just
Oh.
because Bill is no.
Oh
He's
my
not
goodness.
here.
Standing
I'm going to
in-
call a rule on that one.
Is he not here?
Well,
Oh, he is. He's sent a
represented.
representative.
He's
I'm
represented.
just
So
giving him a ration.
I'm gonna call it okay, but we will remove him from the second spin. Okay.
Okay. There's going to be a second spin.
Well, that's right. Later on. That's right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're going to take a 15-minute break. And when we come back, I'm going to give you 7 power plays for speakers. And we're going to have another book raffle. So I think you want to be stretching and doing something like that to take a break.
And I know you've got an offer coming up too. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for that. I suspect it'll be of interest to many of us.
Now,
All right.
one thing I'm also going to suggest during the break, maybe if some of you in the chat want to put your LinkedIn profile, because you need to be connecting with each other. You guys should know Pam and Gail. They're not from around here, from around there, but they're great people to know. And I hope that you're all connected to each other, and I want you to connect with me. So let's do that as part of our break. Is that okay?
Sounds good. All
So
right.
it's-
We'll see you all in about 15 minutes.
So 5:25, that is, what is that? 2:25.
2:25. Yes.
2:25.
All right.
See you at 2:25.
Okay, guys. Here it is. Here. And Sandra, we'll turn the time right back over to you.
All right. Well, I just want to say that I've been checking Aaron out a little more deeply, and he's got some very nice articles. You guys should check it out. They're visual. They're great. I think they're creative. I love the headlines of these articles. And he also has a nice use of the featured section where he's got a YouTube interview. So you do get a gold star, Aaron.
At least in some areas. I'm with a lot of other people. I think there's room for improvement, which It was a
Everyone.
push on my part, but we invited you in because I really like to learn more on this topic too. So thank you.
Oh, really good job. Really good job.
But
All right.
but I will say in response to my name, it was odd spelling, just like you talked about your name. And
Yeah.
so in all my marketing, my publishing work, people can remember AP Grow. My mom spelled my name funny, spelled it Arron. So when people search for that, they don't use that spelling, and that's why I went with the initials. But I think perhaps I just should use the wrong spelling and put AP in quotes. And
No, I think as long as you're consistent. What happened was when you called me, you said Aaron, and my Google Voice wrote it down ERIN.
oh, well, see, that's another spelling. Yeah.
And then they wrote down grill. So when I was looking for you, I was like, Aaron Grill. I couldn't find you.
I couldn't help that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. So welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good stretch. We're going to talk about some power plays. Now, remember, earlier we positioned ourselves and we've enhanced, how we're coming across. We're making it more clear and more attractive and more relevant for people. And so now we're going to get into a little bit more about how we can use LinkedIn. Now, by the way, I should say, everything we're going through is just a portion of what you can do on LinkedIn. We can't, in this session, even though it's nice to have 2 sessions today, it's only a portion. So, I'm sure, and there'll be time for questions at the end, but there's a lot to know about LinkedIn. So I'm trying to pick out some highlights really for you. All right. So connect and engage more comprehensively. Now, this might sound like, well, wait a minute, I kind of know this, but trust me, this is an opportunity for every one of us to do a better job, to be more connected, and it will definitely help you. So thinking about this, and every single customer that I go to, if I work with a sales team, you cannot believe the great vast majority, over 90% of these people have not connected with all their clients. And I'm talking about current clients, past clients. They haven't connected with all the people in their industry, with all the speakers they could be connecting with, meeting pros, coworkers, personal. And it's like taking time to systematically do it. And for example, getting from people in your industry, like maybe there's you're in an industry network, an industry group, go in there and specifically get those names and go back to LinkedIn, right? Speakers that you're friends with, maybe from the NSA, right? Meeting pros, like people where you used to work, your coworkers, gold mine. So I'm in my second career. I imagine some of you are in a second career. You used to work at a company, and those coworkers, those old coworkers, I get a lot of gigs from those people because they knew me, they liked me, and I'm top of mind because they see me on LinkedIn, and then they call me into their company. And I want that to happen for you. So the more connected you are, the better. The other thing is using events as triggers. So every time there's an event, and now it's virtual, and that's fine, but you've got pre-events. What can you do in advance of an event? What can you do in advance of an event? You can connect with people, right? You can message them. You can do a post. You can change your banner like I showed you. You could use the event hashtag. And you can connect with people that are other speakers. I love to do that. When I do the inbound, I always connect with the other speakers. And I love connecting with people that are the audience. Sometimes they connect with me. At the event, you can be connecting, whether you're live or virtual, making connections, invitations, sending messages, and definitely doing a post. Like that's a great thing to do, is be able to post about the event during the event. And then of course you can make your gratitude post or your video because you videoed yourself or your post. And then after you can just go ahead and do that. And then of course, following up, if you've got a bunch of business cards that won't do you any good, you're going to follow up after the event. So what do you think this is a chat question. What do you think your best event opportunities are? We are all doing virtual events now. Is it before? Is it during or after? Like today, we all just put our LinkedIn and some of us are connecting, and thank you for the invitations. But for yourself, what do you think is your biggest opportunity? Is it during events, before, or after? So we'll go ahead and chat away on that.
Gail says all of the above.
All of the above. Okay.
And Pam says after with a question mark.
Ah, does that mean that she's asking the question?
She's making the statement in a questioning sort of way, like
Okay.
maybe after.
Well, I mean, you can do it throughout all that. I mean, certainly after,
Sure.
sometimes you get a program or you get, sometimes one of the tricks I say is if you go to a Zoom and there's a lot of people that you want to connect with, you want to save the chat. You do the 3 little dots, save the chat. And then after you have that saved chat, you can go back and connect with people afterwards.
Mhm.
And definitely send a message. Like maybe you connected with them on the Zoom. And then after, you can send them a message, wasn't that great? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed meeting you, whatever it might be, right? Okay, thanks you guys. All right, using people search. So this is super valuable. You can find all kinds of people, prospects and referral partners. So there's all these different filters. So you could put in if you put in meeting planners or event planners, you can find those type of people that are in Seattle or in Los Angeles or Boston. So you can do that. And you can also put in, like for me, like I might be interested in VP of sales. I could put in university type professions. You can use the geography. So you can be by title or by industry. Maybe you only speak at healthcare. So you can put that in there. And you can use the search to find people that are prospects. Now, when you do that, you'll see a list and you'll see first level and second level. Those second level, they'll show you how you're connected to those people. Like, so if you have thousands of people that you find that are prospects, you can see how you are actually connected and ask for introductions. So I did a little search. So just these titles, this is US, event people, meeting people. These are people that hire us. There's over 56,000 people on LinkedIn in the US with these titles. Now, remember, these are current titles. COVID, some of these people are in the wind right now, right? But there's still this many people. Speakers for these titles, okay, you can see there's over 69,000 people that are speakers. To me, the best bet is for you to be connecting, number one, with your NSA Northwest group, like definitely connect with all those, but then your Portland and your LA and all those other groups, and then certainly around the country. And I would even say, I see the NSA people, they're all over Facebook. You can see their names and go to LinkedIn and invite them to connect on LinkedIn, which would be great. So we did talk about referrals and recommendations. This is number 3, but I'm going to give you an idea here that I hope you can use. And this is a post-gig debrief. So after your gig, you always want to ask for a debrief call, and basically you're saying, you're getting feedback, how'd it go? What was your impression? What could have gone better? And at the same time, you can ask for recommendation. You can say, the person says, oh, this was great. I loved your speech. Would you be so kind as to write me a LinkedIn recommendation? I'll be happy to send you the link. And most people will be happily write you a recommendation. So you want to do it right after the gig. You don't want to wait 2 years and say, geez, I need LinkedIn recommendations. No, you want to do it right after the gig. The other thing is you can ask for endorsements, right? Because assuming that you got to have your skills organized. If you're some of you guys are authors, you can ask for an Amazon review if the person's read your book. And then of course, my favorite is you can ask for referrals to people that might also want to hire you. So this all happens in that conversation after your gig. So the best bet is when you're setting up the presentation, at the same time you say, okay, the presentation is going to be on the 18th. Let's do our post-gig debrief on the 19th. So you're on that person's calendar, they expect it, and you have a list of things. So here's how you can search for referrals. Now, this is a really great secret, I'm telling you. I love it. So let's just say you spoke and the person's name was John Smith. No, let's make it John Mayfield. Okay, John Mayfield hired you and you're now having your debrief. And he says, and you know he was happy. You said he told you right that day, this was great. I think this was fantastic. So when you go to the debrief, before you go into the people filters and you put in his name where it says add connection of, and you put in John Mayfield. Maybe John Mayfield is a meeting planner, or maybe he's a VP of sales, or maybe he's a whatever he is. You put his name in, and then you can use the search to find other people like him that he knows. So that as that debrief call, you're saying, you know, you're asking for the recommendation and he's saying yes. And then you go, by the way, I would love to have speaking gigs with more people as wonderful and gracious as you are, John. And I was wondering, do you know these people? And you now have a list of 5 people that you've picked that you think are perfect, that he's connected to. And you say, John, do you know Brad Cochran? Do you know Ron Rael? Do you know AP Grow? Do you know these guys? Because they really are a good fit for me, but it looks like you're connected with them. And so instead of saying, can you refer me? You're being specific. And then he's going to say, sure, I'll be happy to introduce you. Now, the example I'm going to give you happened to me this week. I had somebody on Monday send me, this is someone I know who's an attorney. They sent me their son's resume and said, do you know, and he named 2 people that I knew in my LinkedIn connection. Do you know these 2 people? Because my son is a senior at Vanderbilt and he's graduating and he would love to have a conversation with these 2 people. And I said, I know these people and I'm happy to do it. So I contacted these people through LinkedIn. Basically, he's got an interview on Monday because of that strategy. I had somebody else reach me this week and send me their resume for their daughter. And they said, can you help my daughter? Here's her resume. Put all the work on me. I don't know how to help with the daughter. I don't know who she wants to meet. The first guy gave me people that I could potentially introduce and I could do it and I was happy to do it. So the same thing with speakers, you know, if you are going and doing that post-gig debrief, have a little list of people you want to meet that your guy knows or your gal knows. All right, give me a thumbs up. You like that one? That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite. All right. Okay. So little tips to go with it. Number 1, if you're asking for endorsements, make sure your skills are the right skills. People have the wrong skills. You got to have the right skills in your profile. After you've had the conversation on that debrief call, you then send the link. You don't just send the link without the conversation. Convo first, send the link. Same thing with Amazon. You have the conversation, send the link. Have your specific set of referrals and be sure to refer and recommend others at all times. And even that person that hired you, maybe you wouldn't do a recommendation, but give them an endorsement. Like, you know them enough, you can endorse them. Like, that would be a nice thing to do. All right. All right, so how about you for your post-gig conversation? Are you guys gonna try any of these things? Let me know in the chat if you're gonna try asking for recommendations, giving a referral list, any of these things. I wanna hear in the chat. Get your fingers going, please.
Well, it's everything you just recommended. Give me a referral list, ask sooner for recommendations. And personally, what I really loved is schedule the follow-up appointment at the same time the gig's being arranged. I mean, that makes perfect sense. That's a great timing there.
Yeah, good.
Targeted requests for the contacts. Oh yeah, and Maureen was saying the same thing. Schedule that post-gig chat. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. The other thing in that post-gig chat is to find out, maybe learn about what their strategies are for the rest of the year. You know, when can I be in touch with your next program? And another thing I'll add is, finding out what their next program is. I often find that I can refer my speaker friends, because if they've done LinkedIn in February, and then I have that post-gig chat about what are they planning the rest of the year, they might say, well, we really want to get into, communications or something else. And I can say, tell me what you're interested in, because I might be able to refer you to one of my speaker friends. That's
Right.
also part of the post-gig chat.
There was one other comment. The question that came up, when people do say yes, that we happen to give an endorsement, but then don't. What then?
Okay, that happens.
Yeah.
So someone who says, I'll write a recommendation, I'll write a review. It happens to me all the time. So you need to remind them.
Mm.
You need to remind them. And honestly, the people that have the most recommendations and reviews are the people that are proactive about this.
Yeah.
Okay. And you deserve it. You deserve your recommendations. You deserve your reviews. So, wait a week or so, maybe you come up with a reason to get in touch, some other reason. By the way, the other thing you can do is, some people put it off because it's writing. You could say, would it make it easy for me to write you a draft that you can edit? Right?
Yep.
Oh.
Sounds good. In fact, that was some people do want us to write their testimonials and thoughts on this and that. That's what I do. I say, why don't you send me some thoughts, what you want to emphasize, and I'll put my personal stamp on that.
Yeah,
It does save me a lot of time, and it gives me a starting point. I just wouldn't know what to say otherwise.
exactly. Exactly. All right. Number 4, I mentioned it before. I'm a big believer. Having speaker friends is what makes the world go round in the speaker world. And so again, your speaker friends, a lot of them are on Facebook as I see them. And you can deepen the like there's a million people on Facebook. You can deepen the relationship by bringing them to Zoom and bringing them to LinkedIn and bringing them. Anybody here on Clubhouse? Okay, that's like a wild app you'll hear about it. It's going crazy. All right, but so wherever that you see these people, try to bring them into your LinkedIn universe. So here's the things about speakers. You're connecting with speakers on a regular basis. You're being the friend first. We talked about that before. That's promoting your friends. Promoting when your friend has a gig, make sure you're commenting. Congratulate them. Sounds great. You're the best. Whatever. I love when you talk about this topic. Any good news from your friend, your speaker friend, you want to be promoting it. Introducing them. Nothing makes me happier than introducing or referring a speaker friend, right? You do that and you're going to have people that are going to be looking to refer you. It's just the way the natural, normal thing is. Recommending and endorsing, there's no reason you can't recommend and endorse speaker friends, assuming that you've heard them speak. It's a great thing to do. And then, of course, engaging with their content, building relationships. Okay. Now, here's an example. This is my friend Gail, who's on here. So I spoke at her University of Rhode Island class. Actually, this was yesterday. Was it yesterday, Gail, right? And she does a great job of, she has a lot of speakers come in, and as a professor, she always recognizes the speakers. That is an example of being a friend, right? So she always does this. So she mentioned me and she put my picture up, and she does it every time I come to her University of Rhode Island class, every time. And whenever she speaks, I'm always commenting or posting, right? And it's just, we have that relationship, and I have this relationship with a lot of speakers, but especially Gail. So think about your chapter. You all can be promoting each other and get a lot of visibility. And that leads me, that is your chapter. Your chapter is a gold mine of opportunity to be visible and promoting each other. All right. I mentioned cross-platform virtual networking. We did talk about this, like taking them from Zoom, taking them from wherever you are. I want to ask first, where is your favorite digital home now? Is it Facebook? And it's okay. I'm not going to hold it against you if it's Facebook. Is it Instagram? Is it Twitter? Let's have it. Let's have the real truth out there. Where's your favorite digital home now?
We've got one Facebook, one Twitter, one LinkedIn. Needs to be LinkedIn. Facebook personal, LinkedIn for business, IG and Pinterest.
Instagram and Pinterest
are really growing for Paul. Okay, and LinkedIn is nice.
Okay.
And another Facebook, another LinkedIn.
Okay, so you guys are all over. So
and,
we all kind of, yeah, what, Aaron?
And Twitter, sorry.
And Twitter.
Yep.
So all of those places are great, and they're all places of opportunity, and they're all places of connection. And I want to just challenge you to convert those people over to LinkedIn so that you have that richness. And truly, if you love Instagram and you meet someone on LinkedIn, invite them to Instagram. Like, all of that it works together great. But I definitely think that, one of the big things is Zoom. So not only, Zoom is where a lot of us are. So like I said, save your chat, that little 3 dots, save your chat and get those people's names, and you can invite them to connect after you meet. The other thing is LinkedIn has a new feature. If you're messaging someone on the app, right in the app, let's just say we're messaging and we'll say, let's talk about that. I can send a Zoom invite right on the LinkedIn app. Again, another new feature. So the whole Zoom and LinkedIn thing is, to me, very powerful. If you're just spending a lot of time on Zoom and you're not getting those connections, it's something that you might be missing. And I don't want you to miss one opportunity. All right, number 6 is use company pages. I did show you this on the Synchrony, but here's another example. This is Cardinal Health. And let's just say it's a company in Ohio, and I decided I want to be working with them. So I can see that Braden works there. So I can click on that. I can see all my first level connections, and I can see my second level connections. But I can go deeper. I can go to this company and I can do a search of their people and see where they went to school and where they live. So what's a big company in Seattle? Well, Microsoft and Starbucks, and what else you got out there? Come
Amazon.
on. Amazon, of course. Oh my gosh.
Boeing's pretty big.
Boeing, you guys have some mega giants out there. All right, so let's say you hear that Starbucks is bringing in speakers, and you want to get in there and you want to say, how do I, maybe I don't know that many people. Assume if you've done a lot of connecting and you're in Seattle, you probably know somebody who works at Starbucks, right? You probably have that connection. But let's just, if you don't, or maybe it's a company in LA or something, and maybe you went to the University of Washington and you're saying, I have this company in LA that I want to, or maybe it's Cardinal Health or wherever it is, whatever company it is. You can go into that company and you can put the school, and you can find people that went to your school that work at that company. And so I could say, I'm interested in, what is it? Yahoo? Is Yahoo in LA? I think so, right? Okay. I think they're in Netflix. Is Netflix in LA? I think so. Okay. So I want to work at Netflix. I want to do a gig at Netflix, and I could go, and I went to the University of Washington. Let me find all the people that went to the University of Washington that work at Netflix, and so that I can have a conversation with them about what's happening in that company, and maybe they can introduce me. And maybe I know those people. Maybe there's a warm connection. So I like the alumni connection. All right, that was 6. This is 7. So you can join groups. Now, groups are not as, LinkedIn groups as a function is not as wonderful as a Facebook group. I'm just going to say it. I tell the truth. The Facebook groups are pretty powerful. However, I still want you to join groups because there's benefits for you on LinkedIn. There's industry groups, there's speaker groups, there's college groups, and there's community groups. And some of these groups are different from what you find on Facebook. Okay. And there's people, this is funny. There's people that are on LinkedIn. Lots of people on LinkedIn do not have a Facebook account. I was like that. I was like that for, I think, 7 years. I was on LinkedIn before I got a Facebook. I mean, there's plenty of people that are only on LinkedIn, and these are professionals that can hire us. So there's reason to be in these groups. Now, I looked under speaking. By the way, the National Speaker Association doesn't really have a presence from a LinkedIn group perspective. Obviously, the NSA, it's all about Facebook. But there's these other groups that are speaking groups. You could check them out. I don't spend a lot of time in groups. However, by being in groups, there are definitely some advantages. And by the way, if you went to the University of Washington or University of Massachusetts, wherever you went to school, you want to join your school groups. Gail went to Tufts, so you want to be in the Tufts groups. You want to be in your school groups and your industry. If you speak in healthcare, be in the healthcare group. If you speak in marketing, go into marketing. If you're in IT, go into those verticals. And as a group member, you can post content, you can comment and be visible, you can be found more easily. So this extends your network of being found. When someone is searching for a leadership speaker in healthcare, if you've got a lot of groups that you're in, you're going to have more chances to be found because that's considered part of your LinkedIn network. And you can also search within those groups and you can message. So there's reasons to be in it, even though it's not as exciting as a Facebook group. There are reasons to be in a LinkedIn group. Okay. So those are the 7 power plays that I wanted to share with you. And I guess I want to ask you, what is your favorite? Is it connecting with more people? Is it the people search? Is it the referral, like the post gig idea where you're doing the referrals and the specific referrals by name? Is it the speaker relationships? Is it the cross platform, getting the Zoom over to LinkedIn? Is it the company pages where you're going to do that, or groups? So tell me, pick your favorite. I want to know so that I just know what you think is that for you personally, you're going to work on.
Ron says connect and engage. Brad says, believe it or not groups. I can post directly to my audience. Celine, connect and engage.
Okay. So one thing Ron said, you can connect. Yes, you can connect directly to your audience. Here's the difference. And I agree. The main post is the best post. I'm not disagreeing with that, Ron. The point of it is, though, this is another set of people that will not be seeing anything in your home feed. So it's a whole nother set of eyeballs. Okay. Anything else on there, Aaron?
Sandra,
Well, the majority of people saying connect and engage.
You know what? That's really smart, because everything else we talked about is better when you connect and engage. Like if you're looking for those referrals, they're going to be better because you've done the connecting and engaging. Thank you for voting. Thank you. All right, we're going to finish with a bang. All right. So I'm going to share with you my LinkedIn Club offer. I'm going to give you a little information about it. Totally optional. If you want to spend more time with me learning about LinkedIn this year, then we're going to do a book giveaway. Then I'm going to send you my evaluation, which you'll have. I'd love you to just fill it out while I take questions. So that is the plan. Are we good, Aaron?
That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hear what you have to offer.
All right. So I have this club, which is called my LinkedIn Personal Best Club. And it's not a huge club. It's kind of small, which is kind of intimate, so people can get a lot of help. And basically I help people move through all of this, and I have a sequence. It's a success path. The first thing is doing your branding, understanding all about your branding, and we do it, there's modules to help you with this. Then you actually do your profile, then you do all the connecting and everything, and all the different, there's a million different little pieces of all this and what you need to learn. Attracting, converting, and then expanding, making a company page. So you have your business page and your personal page. So there's videos and PDFs and lessons and Zoom calls. This is all what's part of it. So a lot of it's video library. I do, but you can also download tip sheets for PDFs, and you're following along this success path. If you're a beginner on LinkedIn, then you need to focus in the beginning, really diving deeper in the brand, into your profile. I mean, we gave you some ideas today, but this goes into really how to do it. And there's showing exactly how to do it versus today you got what to do, but it goes into the how to do it and more in depth. And we do Zoom sessions, which are fun, and you get your questions answered. And so that's what it is. It's really about how can you create more conversations, more relationships, more referrals, get more of a following. And you get immediate access. These are all courses within it. You get immediate access to all the courses. And you can jump around how you want, although I do recommend you follow a path. But some people, they won't follow a path. They're just going to go where they want to go. That's okay. All right, so here's the deal. It's monthly and annually. And I'm going to offer 30% discount for you guys today. And I'm also, if you sign up for the annual, the chapter is going to get a 30% bonus from me. And so what is the annual? The annual is $320 per year. So I don't know, you can do the math. I can put the link in there, and I'll offer that to you today and through the weekend. And I'd love to have you join. Pam and Gail are in my club. I'd love to have you join. And I'd love you to join annual so I can write a check to your chapter in March. All right, so that, I will put that, let me do that now. I'll put that in the chat.
Awesome.
Let me,
So
So
320
Sandra?
a year.
Oh, Aaron's probably going to recap. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Ah, here it is.
this is it. Yeah, this is it. And I'm actually gonna, I'll put this in the chat.
So you can either join month by month or annual subscription.
Yes, you can. Like I said, if you do the annual, I'm gonna happily write a check to the chapter.
And you said, is it all self-paced?
Yeah, it's self-paced. And right, it's all self-paced, but there's the videos, the downloads, and we do the Zoom as well.
Okay. What if I'm the kind of person that needs a babysitter or some accountability to go through those modules? That's one question.
Mm-hmm.
And another one is I'm well beyond a babysitter. I'd just like someone to do this for me.
Yep. Yeah.
So tell us more about all your knowledge on LinkedIn, whether it's you or all those other connections you have. Where's the babysitter model, and just Denise, tell me what you need and I'll do it for you.
Okay, we have all that. I have coaching. I have some people hire us what's called the presidential, and we do everything for them. I mean, we set up the profile, we interview them, and so what you need to do is send me an email or connect with me and send me a note. Who is that talking? I can't really see.
It's Denise.
Denise.
Yeah, it's Denise.
Send me a note, and I'll send you the links for all that.
Okay. I just know me. I've signed up for some of those self-paced modules. And I can see squirrels and distractions all the time. And I just know me that I'm not very good on the self-paced modules. Okay. So thank you.
That is why I have different models. Yep. Yes, the coupon code, hold on one second.
I'm not the only one that's guilty of this. Some of you were smiling. You accountability partners, or magic wand, or both.
Yeah, I know. Well, everyone's different how they like to go about things.
Yep.
Aaron, is it okay if I jump in for a minute?
I'm still waiting to make sure. I think Sandra's going to post a link for those. I think she might still be working on that.
I have the link up, and here's the.
Is it in the chat box?
Here it is, SPEC 30. Ah,
Well, that's the code.
the code is SPEC 30.
Right. And I'm just waiting for the link to go to for joining up. If for people who might be interested in this, is there a URL they should go to? There. Okay. There we go. You probably didn't need to share your screen at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess not.
But yeah, Denise, I don't doubt there might be others who want more than this, but for our group and for this session, here's the special offer, which sounds like a really exciting opportunity.
Definitely.
I have a question actually.
Can we,
Sandra,
is the question about this?
no, it's about this offer.
Okay.
So Sandra, assume that somebody like the Denise, the Celine, and somebody else, like 3, 4, 5 of us, want to do something more personal, hand holding. Can you take us as a group, a small class, to take us by the hand to do it?
Possibly. I do that with companies. I'll have like, in-depth profile sessions with a group of employees. It's a little different though with 5 different people with different, it's a little bit different. You're better off in the club. I would think the other thing you can do, is get my book, because my book and the club together is really, I think, the most helpful. But you could start there and then you could decide to hire me for coaching. I do coaching, one-on-one coaching, or I do this, the done for you. So if you're thinking, you want to get started somewhere, I would start at the club. For me to organize 4 or 5 of you, and then you're all kind of doing different things, I don't know about that, but I could do, I already have coaching. I have other models of things I can help you with.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. All right. I think it's time to give away a book again.
Well, I think Gail was going to make a comment. I forget what she.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
yeah.
comment was, it was in response to Denise, because Denise, I am you. I will join all this stuff and then, high five, sister, but I will join all this stuff and then I don't go back. The best thing I did is join your LinkedIn club. And I met Pam, which was awesome. I met so many other great people. But the question that I think Celine just asked is, you kind of do help us as a group, because when we're in class together, we can throw out any question. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of getting coaching for that I don't want to offend you, Sandra, but I think your fee's too low. And now it's so darn reasonable. It's craziness. And I'm finding out tonight, and I'm embarrassed about this. I didn't know. I have a question about your one-on-one coaching, because a student contacted me after class. Do you or your team sit with a student who's brand new and help them make, like if they wanted to hire you to create their website, their LinkedIn page?
Yeah. Yeah, it's me. I have a team also. So
okay.
Yeah, I can do anything really. But thank you so much for saying that, Gail. And I do coaching on the Zoom. So we have, and they're not like hundreds of people. It's a small group. We get together, we go through whatever. So that I think would give you what you need, Celine.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Now do we give away a book?
Yeah, let's give away a book.
I want to make sure and get your survey link out there too.
Oh, so I got to do that. Yeah.
Let's do that. I want to keep people, stay tuned, folks. We want to get full use of the session here.
It really means a lot to me to have you answer the survey, and it just takes a minute. And there you go. And while we're doing the book and the question and answers and all that. Okay. Now it's yours, Aaron.
Okay, let's see here. I want to share my screen. You'll recognize the Wheel of Fortune here. All right, here we go. Everybody, big money, big money. And it looks like, oh, Brad. All right.
I want to thank the little people.
All the people I stepped on to get to the top. All right, Brad, go ahead and send me in a private chat the address you'd like it sent to, and we'll make sure that happens.
Okay.
That's fun to have a giveaway. That's nice, Aaron. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. This is courtesy of the chapter.
Very nice.
All right, now the link is in for the survey right there. Okay, now those who had questions, this will be the time.
Any question on LinkedIn are good. And both the links, by the way, are there. Someone asked, there's the club and then there's the survey should be right there. Do you all see the survey?
Yes, well,
Okay.
I do.
All right. Okay. Maureen has a question.
Yes, I do. All these things that you shared with us are awesome, and I'm on it because I got some catching up to do. And one of the questions that kept running through my head as you were speaking is the algorithm, like your bio or the about. Like what is it? Can you say the 3 best things to be found through the LinkedIn algorithm would be the about, maybe your title, and whatever else?
All right, so your headline and your photo are going to be, I mean, the thing is, if you've got pieces missing, you're not optimized. You're gonna dilute people finding you. So you want to make sure you have education. You want to make sure you have 3, that whole list I showed, 3 or more experience sections, your about section, your photo, like all those things.
Right, from there, the expertise.
Yeah, so you basically want to be at the all-star ranking. But here's the thing, the all-star tells you that you're basically optimized in terms of you're complete. It doesn't tell you that your profile is branded or that you're going to appeal to any. It just means it's complete.
Okay.
So when they say all-star, people sometimes go, I'm an all-star. Well, maybe
not if you're not working, you're not.
You're complete. You're complete, but have you branded yourself? And positioned yourself. That's so all-star, and then the branding piece.
Got it. Thanks.
I have 2 questions, Sandra.
Sure.
The first one has to do with LinkedIn Live. That was by invitation, and it seems to still be by invitation. So the only way to get a video capture is using stories on a mobile device. Is that correct?
No, you can do native video from your phone and upload it to the home feed.
Oh, just upload it. You can't do it like a Facebook Live type of thing.
Well, no, it's not live. It's a native video with your phone. You can record, and I don't use the LinkedIn app for it. Use your camera.
Right.
Make a video that you like, and you can see that you like it. Then you're going to upload it into the LinkedIn app. That's called native video. That's one thing. Stories is something that you only find on the app, and you'll see it at the very top of your home feed, and you click on the plus, and it will ask you to do that. And the video can be a maximum of 20 seconds. That's a different option. Those are 2 organic options. LinkedIn Live, you have to apply for, like only 1% of the people have it. It's something that you can apply for it, or they invite you, and you have to have a third-party software. You have to pay like $100 a month to have this third-party software to actually run it. It's all integrated, so it's not like as easy as Facebook Live, but it's going to improve over time. Okay, and there's some things about it that are not less than ideal. I mean, it's a great feature, and it's promising, and it's going to develop into a better feature. Does that help, Ron?
Yes, that's what I thought. And the second question is, as I'm learning LinkedIn, there are certain people that I'm pursuing on LinkedIn, CEOs of the types of companies and things that I would do best with. However, I've noticed that even though they have a LinkedIn presence, they don't do any activity on LinkedIn, or if they do, all they do is like somebody else's. So what do you suggest to find a way to connect with them? Because I not only want to talk to them possibly about, start a conversation, but also interview them for my podcast. As I said, the ones that I have pursued, there's probably been about 50. It's just something they'd have on LinkedIn, but no activity. They're not posting anything to comment on. So there's no way to engage them.
Well, because it's right. So, I mean, that's always ideal if they're doing content, because it gives you a chance, right? to engage. However, the great majority of people on LinkedIn are not doing content. So they could be there connecting with people. They could be messaging with people you don't know. So I wouldn't, so you can still try that. The other thing is, I mean, I always look at people to say, is this person that I want to reach, is it better for me to email them, to call them, to do a LinkedIn message? It just depends. You have to kind of evaluate each person. Okay. The other thing is, maybe if that person's really not available, maybe someone that they're close to is somebody who works in their company, someone who works under them, or a colleague to them, and go about it that way. But that's less than ideal.
Sandra, I have a question, which is fairly unique, actually. How do you handle a LinkedIn when you have two customer groups speaking two different languages, French and English? What do people usually do?
Well, you can only have one profile, but you can have it in two languages. So you can first, I would, create your English language profile, and then you can add you say French?
Yes.
Add a French profile. Now you have to do the translation. You can't, it's not like you push a button and they'll translate. You have to do all the translation. Okay. But I think it's smart to have a profile in both languages for you.
Okay, thank you.
Laura.
I've got a question for you, Sandra.
Denise.
Oh, I'm sorry. Laura, go.
Laura.
I have several questions. I'll ask a couple now. So I went in and added my certified virtual presenter under licenses and certifications, but it shows like basically 3, what I'm seeing, because I have a bunch of certifications that don't have an expiration date. And then my e-speakers one is way down there in the list. So I'm just wondering, are people not going to see that on my LinkedIn account then?
Yeah, I mean, they make it kind of a pain. You have to kind of put it in a certain order. Like in some of the parts of LinkedIn, you can move things around, and that you have to kind of, you might have to take it out, put it back in to get it in the order that you want. It's a little bit of a pain.
Okay, and then another question I had was, in the featured section, I'm looking at what I have, which has been on there for, I don't know how long. Is there a recommendation of how many different things I should have in that area? Should it just be like my speaker demo reel, or I mean, there's so many different options. When I click on that, it says posts, articles, links, and media. What would be your recommendation?
Well, I change that around depending on what I'm doing.
And so there's only one thing at a time then that can be in
two
that
at
area.
a time that are very visible.
Okay.
So if I've got a big proposal out to work with a sales team, then I might have a certain podcast that I was on talking about LinkedIn for sales, right? But if I'm really focused on something with a university, I might have my testimonial from a university. Like, you can move that around. So I keep this, relevant for what I'm doing.
Okay. And then my last question for the moment is, when I went to your page, it said that I could follow you, I think.
Yeah.
And then I had to go somewhere else to try and connect with you.
Yeah.
Why does that happen on some people's pages?
Okay. So it used to be there was just connections, and now you can have a connection or a follower. And your maximum number of connections is 30,000. So for some people like Richard Branson and Barack Obama, people like that, they have a lot of followers, a lot of celebrity type people, but also people that do a lot of posting and a lot of content get a lot of followers. So you, as a user, you have the choice. You can have your default on your page be connect or follow, right? Okay. So I do a lot of content, and so I switched mine to, you can still connect with me, but I have a lot of people that follow me. So I think I mentioned just in the last year, it's close to 10,000 people that have followed me, just follow me, because these are people that are around the world, and it's because of my commenting mainly and my posting. And they're, because the connection is a special relationship. Those people are, they can see your connections, they can message you, but the followers are people that are maybe, if you're a thought leader, you're out there posting and commenting, you want people to follow you as well as people that will connect with you, right? Mm-hmm. So if you only have a small amount of connections, I don't suggest changing it. But if you are actively, you know, if you're a celebrity or if you're actively posting all the time and you have a lot of, you know, you have over 5,000 connections, then you might want to change that to the follow button.
That's not me. Thanks. That helps.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It might, you know, it might be, connect might be good for you now, but maybe in a year or two, you might switch it. You know what I mean? You never know. Okay.
I was just going to ask you, Sandra, we know you must have an incredibly great profile, your LinkedIn. We know that Pam's got a pretty good one, and Gail, because they're part of this club. And who other, you know, who would you say that we could go and see some really good profiles?
Look in my book. My book's got a bunch of good examples. There's all kinds of examples in there.
Okay.
You know, if you, I don't know if you get my book from Amazon, you know, so that's probably the best. You know, there's a lot of good ones. I mean, I don't know. My favorites are in the book because I use different examples.
Okay. Okay. For different reasons.
Yeah, for different reasons. And I show those different, like the different essays. I have different examples of banners. Like I might like someone's visuals, but I don't like their wording. Or I like their essay, but I don't like the way they did their, you know, so there's all these different parts. So in the book, it shows every section with examples.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just dropped the link to your book in the chat section. It's it says it's a 2016, but it's been updated for 2021. So
yeah, it's 2021. Like for example, Aaron, like I noticed Aaron's got a good profile. He didn't have the word speaker, but he's got great articles. And, you know, so every profile I can find things that I would want to change and find things that I like. I mean, I look at profiles all the time and there's very hard. I mean, most profiles need work, honestly.
excellent. Any other questions? Oh,
even if they don't need work now, I seem to recall the word early on, ongoing.
Yeah.
So you always want to refresh, yeah?
Yeah. And Denise, if you want to send me an email, I think I have a link on my website I can send you of some of our client profiles. If you don't want to get the book, just send me a note and I'll dig that out and send you the link.
Okay, thank you.
Sandra, one more question. At what point do you recommend to the people you advise to go to the professional? What is the tipping point for you?
To go to premium?
Yes, premium, sorry.
Well, everyone's different. So people ask that question, they'll say, do I need premium? And my answer is, it depends on your goal and what you're trying to do, because there's all different kinds of premium. There's one for job seekers, there's salespeople, there's business version. And I see people all the time upgrading to premium for the wrong reasons. I see people who say, I have premium because of this. They name a feature and I'm like, I know that's a free feature, but they just didn't know how to access it. What I teach people is how to use all the free features. And then yes, if you want to, and yes, I use premium and I'll show you that too, but there's a ton you can do for free. And I say, get good at that first before you upgrade, because most people, again, they upgrade, they'll say, I upgraded for all these crazy reasons. And they, you know, so what you have to say, why do you want to do it? I mean, one of the main reasons people upgrade is because they want to see who's viewed their profile. And the difference there is, for free, you can see the last 5 people who viewed your profile. On premium, you can see the last 90 days. So that is a difference. And it doesn't matter what premium you're in. So if you're checking LinkedIn every day and you're checking that feature, you should be able to see the last 5 every single day. But if you're checking it once a month, then maybe you need to get premium because you need to see the last 90 days. But, you know, so that's one example. The other thing is some of the premiums have the ability to send a message for free to someone you're not connected with. But my problem here is, why would I want to do that? I want to connect with people. Then I can send them all the messages I want. I don't want to send cold messages to people I don't know. That's one of the features they talk about in premium. Well, I'm not really that interested in that feature. So it's just,
cold calling, which is
I'm
not
sorry?
that effective. So that would be like equivalent to cold calling, which we know is not all that effective.
right. I'd rather warm somebody up, connect with them. So you have to look at what is the premium? Now the premium that I really like is Sales Navigator. It's about $80 a month. I have that also. I use that with sales teams. And there's certain features that has, which is really great. It saves you a lot of time. You know, and there's definitely some great features for that, for Sales Navigator. But, you know, usually it's for people that they're selling, like that's what they do, they sell. But for speakers, we're salespeople. So that might work for you.
Speaking of the selling, that seems to be that as I spent the summer learning LinkedIn, probably 80% of the people that wanted me to connect were trying to sell me something.
Right.
Yep. Right. And you don't want to be that person, right? You want to be the relationship person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great questions, you guys.
Sounds like we're all questioned out. I want to thank you again, Sandra. For
Denise looks like she has one more question.
Oh, wait, Denise?
Hey, wait, there's more. Just one more question on behalf of our chapter, our speakers chapter in our community. Have you seen other speakers groups use a LinkedIn profile for our chapter and done it very well?
Well, you can't use a personal profile for a chapter. You're not allowed to do that. You could do a group.
Okay.
I think you could make a group. I think the Facebook is good for the NSA, for the groups.
Okay. Okay.
But the benefit if you did a LinkedIn group is that you could easily find everyone on LinkedIn. And, you know, it's just that I wouldn't expect there to be a lot of activity. Most of your activity would be on Facebook, but it would allow you to keep everybody in a group together. So there's that. But thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Erin, I swear, no more. No more.
All right,
Well,
Aaron.
all good. I really appreciate
that.
Sandra, your involvement and all the information you shared today and the offer you've made to the group. And really appreciate the 30% of whatever happens today would come back to the chapter. That'll be a welcomed benefit as well. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Take care, all.
Take care.